Welcome back to the live session of European Private Label Summit 2017. Today we will talk with Chris Rawlings, and he will be sharing with us the research he has done for you. He basically collected a list of tools which can improve your business. So welcome to the session, Chris.
Awesome to be here. As always, Augustus. I always have fun doing these with you, man.
Yeah, so Chris represents a company called Judo Lounge. Can you, Chris, briefly tell what Judo Lounge does for Amazon sellers?
Yeah, totally. So Judo Launch helps Amazon sellers grow their business internationally. And we do that through 3 different services that we have. One is a launch service. So Japan with polling of your product and gets you organic sales and ranking on your own. We have listing optimization and translation, so you get professional translated listings in any language. And then we do account automation, so we take over the general day-to-day tasks of your account so that sends and contacting.
I think we lost a little bit you a few times. I will ask people in the chat, if you could hear Chris properly, or you also lost him a little bit, I will just wait for the responses from the ones who are online at the moment.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, I think I didn't really hear when you talked about your company. Let's see what others are saying. If it will repeat, well, we will see. Yeah, a bit choppy, someone said. So was choppy. Okay, Chris, let's try again. So can you tell a little bit more about Judo Lounge from the beginning?
Yeah, and I could take it slowly too throughout this so that if there's any choppiness that we can smooth it over and go back, if necessary.
Yeah.
Essentially, Judo Launch just helps Amazon sellers expand their brand internationally. We help them get their initial sales traction. We help them rank better for their primary keywords. We automate their Amazon EU account, including customer service, and we translate and optimize their listings for the local language. That's what we do.
Yes, we got it. Cool.
Awesome. All right. I just had to keep it short and sweet. I think I was just talking for too long and the internet just spanked me for that.
So Chris has been on the different sessions with me in the past, and I always found that he delivers very interesting information and a lot of value to the viewers and listeners. And today, Chris, what you gonna show to us?
All right, so this is something that it took me a long time to learn on my own. And that is, when you start a business, you start by thinking you have to learn everything yourself. Every new skill you feel that you need to master so that you can do it efficiently and quickly for your business. Now, there's one of the pivotal moments in any business owner's journey that some don't ever make it to. Some will take that belief of learning every skill on their own to their dying bed. But the biggest pivotal skill, I think, in a businessman or businesswoman to a person or delegate to a tool. So this presentation is focused around showing you tools to delegate specific skills or tasks to that you may be doing on your own right now, or you're not doing, and your business is suffering for that because something that needs to get done is just not getting done.
That's interesting. Chris, we lost you for 2 seconds again. Do you have any audio recording software that you can start on your computer?
I do.
That's for the replay. We have a proper audio.
Sure.
And so
I'll start recording now.
All right. So everyone on the call, I think we will start with presentation. We are sorry if there will be a disconnects from Chris' side. If there will be some, no worries, the replay will be with the proper audio, so you can watch the later the recording.
There you go.
Right. Cool. So I think let's start. I think people are waiting.
Let's do it up. All right, so I'll start by introducing myself and telling you a little bit about why you should listen to me in the first place. My name's Chris Rawlings, and I started an e-commerce business, an e-commerce brand in the spinal health space, in health and personal fitness 2 years ago. In that time, you know, it's grown from just a single product on Amazon to a whole line of products in many different channels and many different countries around the world, and has been bootstrapped to a multi-million-dollar a year business in terms of revenue. So
I think we lost Chris again. Okay, he's back.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, dude. I've learned a ton about the tools that make your job easier as a business owner, and allow you to leverage your time better. So I put together a bunch of those for Augustus and you guys, and I'm going to show you a little bit about them now. So I'm going to start screen sharing.
Yeah, while Chris is opening his slides, everyone on the chat, can you just type quickly, what are you listening from? Are you in US or other North American country, or in Europe, or maybe even Asia or Australia? I don't expect a lot of Asian or Australian people here because it's a deep night. And I think Chris has already his slides. Oh, Europe, UK, Romania, Lithuania, Germany, a lot of Europeans, finally Canada, US, Mars.
Wow, it's global.
Yeah, it's global. It's universal. Mars.
That's awesome, man.
Lithuania from UK, US. Cool.
Hell yeah.
All right. All right. So let's do the slides.
Sweet. All right. So I already gave you guys a little bit of an introduction about myself. Started a business 2 years ago, grew it to, you know, the multi-million-dollar a year range, expanded a team, and then also took that knowledge to a service that I already told you guys about called Judo Launch that helps brands expand internationally. So I put together this list based on my own personal experience, along with the experience of many of my business colleagues and partners throughout this journey. So this presentation is going to allow you guys to stop spending your time on low impact things for your business. That's what it boils down to. That's why the whole sales pitch for this presentation was the real 4-hour work week, because you should be spending your time not on chugging away at the time intensive tasks, but using your time as a vector to point tasks to the tool or person that's best aligned to execute that task. The most toxic mindset for a business owner is that you're the only one that can do a good job, that, you know, it won't be done right if it's not done by you. That's a lazy way to think about it. It's hard to train someone or to learn a new tool, but once you do train that person or learn that new tool, your time becomes high impact. So we're going to go through the tools in 2 basic categories. One is operations. That's the day-to-day of keeping your business running. All of the boring things, bookkeeping, inventory management, communications, team management. We'll go over all of the tools necessary to help automate all of the boring stuff about your business. That's stuff you really should not be spending too much of your personal time on, because you want to spend your time on the right column, which is growth. And growth has to do with anything you're doing to expand your business. So this would be launching. This would be geographic expansion. This would be building a new marketing channel. This would be exploring a new sales channel. All of this stuff is growth oriented. And we're going to go through all of the necessary tools to help you be most effective in the growth category as well. So here we have a list of operations that we're going to have tools to automate, including bookkeeping, inventory management, account management, financial services, which could be currency conversion. It could be sending money abroad to contractors. Compliance, we're talking about tax compliance in that case. Logistics, getting your products from the factory to your fulfillment center. Communication, talking within the team. And then, of course, customer service. If any of you are doing customer service on your own right now, you better listen to at least that portion of this presentation, because that is the least high impact way that you could spend your time. And trust me, I did it myself. Stop, and we're going to fix it today. Just to check in here, Augustus, are you hearing me all right?
Yes, just before your question, a few seconds ago, we lost you for 2 seconds, but I think so far was relatively smooth. So. Good.
Just wanted to check in there. If you want me to go back and say something over again, feel free to speak up. So on the growth category, we're going to go into launch services that automate the process of launching your products, whether they're new or already existing on the market. We're going to go over geographic expansion, expanding horizontally to new geographic markets. We'll go into list building, building your own email list so you can launch to your own fans. And also there's a ton of benefits to doing this. We'll get into that. Recruiting, which is getting your team together. This is opinion. Product research for development of new products, keyword tracking for both development of new products and tracking the efficacy of your launch campaigns for your existing products, and keyword research for new keywords that you still need to identify, new channels outside of Amazon, email follow-up sequences, optimization, and that's specifically price optimization. And then I'll throw in a couple special favorites that really can't be categorized, but that I personally love. So let's hop right into it. We'll start with growth. So launch services are going to allow you to get quick sales traction without building your own list, without waiting months. These services will get you quick traction really fast. Whether it's a new product or an existing product, executing a launch is the quickest way to get traction and start selling organically for your products. And I've been doing this since the very beginning, way before Judo Launch even existed. Been finding ways through tools that are not listed here because I don't use them anymore to do fast launches. So I've listed 3 here. One of them is my own service, Judo Launch, which you'll hear me recommend because I started it and I truly believe in it and put a lot of resources into making it a quality service. Viral Launch is another one. A lot of sellers use Viral Launch with good success. No beef with those guys at all. I think they're doing a great job over there. And then my buddy Joe's company, ZonBlast, which is also great for launches in the US. I put a number of different choices for you guys in each of these categories because I don't want to limit you to just the service that I use. So for each one, I've included the one that I personally use for my own brand. And then I've included a couple others that I've been either tried myself or have been recommended to me by close, trusted colleagues. So just so you guys know how this list is curated. List building. Now, this is super important and something that I don't see many sellers doing, but more and more are starting to embrace it. But I think not enough. This is a secret weapon if you can do it well. If you have a list in whatever country you're launching in, you don't need one of the launch services that I just showed you. Well, you may need it for follow-on launches if you exhaust your list. But for the most part, a list is a core asset of your company that you can use. It's like a multi-tool. You can use it for all kinds of things. You can ask your list to send you video testimonials of your products so that you can do a Facebook ad campaign for it. You can ask your list to purchase a new product at a discounted price when you launch new products. You can ask your list all at once to leave some reviews for products they've purchased. And you obviously, to comply with Amazon's terms of service, you couldn't promise anything in response, but you could ask them, would you mind leaving a review for something you've bought? There are just endless ways you can use a list. And I think it's a core asset that a company can use. I think because many people don't do it, and there's actually, because there's just so much choice in terms of how you can use the list, people can't really wrap their heads around it because it's not like one simple hack or one defined thing. It just becomes a core part of your business once you get one. So MailChimp, I think, is the best. There are a ton of different email list service providers that you can use, be it SendGrid or Email on Acid. There's a ton of different email list automation services. But MailChimp is great. There's nothing wrong with MailChimp. Lead Pages is a great way to help you build that list in the first place. So you have some kind of give. You have an ebook, or you have even just like a 2-page PDF that you put together on maybe your product is a garlic chop, right? Well, maybe you just have 5 recipes, 5 awesome garlic recipes by my Italian grandmother or something like that. Something that's worthwhile to your audience that you can drive traffic to and collect email addresses for. This is a great way to build a list. And speaking of driving traffic, if you have not at least opened your Facebook business account, do it right after this presentation, because today, everyone is on Facebook. You can mess with all of the fringe stuff. You can try doing Pinterest ads. You can try getting on Snapchat or whatnot. But Facebook is your foundation. It's the biggest social network in the world. You have access to the most eyeballs, the most highly specific targeting. You need to open your Facebook business account and at least start messing around with it. So let's move on. Recruiting. I'm going to spend a little more time on this one just because it is my favorite and, in my eyes, the most important slide in this entire presentation. And I'm very passionate about this subject. Now, I have a friend from back in Princeton when I was working out of a co-working space in Princeton who would spend hours upon hours or days even figuring out automations for tasks for his business. And he's a solo entrepreneur, a team of one, which I'm sure many of you, or at least some of you, are in this position. And even for those of you who are not in this position, I'm sure you can relate. He'll create a very complicated spreadsheet or a long standard operating procedure document, or hire someone to write a script and just spend hours upon hours trying to automate things as if, his business is made out of gears and wheels and belts like a car. But the problem with this is that many tasks that you do can't fully be automated and require computation, judgment calls, and independent leadership to complete. The human brain is the most complicated object in the entire known universe and the most powerful computer known to man. And it's dirt cheap. Think about that. A human brain is dirt cheap to hire. It's much cheaper than using some kind of AI software or, developing this gigantic program that automates every portion of whatever business operation you're trying to automate. Just get a human being. And I think I've almost gotten through to my friend in Princeton about this subject. Oh, sorry guys. So that's my rant. To go into the tools themselves, Upwork, I think, is the base, the foundation. If you're to start anywhere, if you're a solopreneur doing it all yourself, start at Upwork, because you can find quality work, quality workers, and quality contractors for pretty much any skill on Upwork. You can get experts for a little bit of a higher price, or you can get low paid labor just to do data entry or simple tasks or virtual assistant tasks now and again for a very inexpensive price. Now, once you've gotten your feet wet delegating things to actual human beings through Upwork or something like freelancer.com, which is another common one. Sorry about that, guys. You might realize the value and decide that it's time to hire someone full-time. And this is where I would give you a little applause, because you made the right decision. It's time to look into hiring someone full-time. The problem is that, at least where I'm from in America, especially here in San Francisco, a full-time person is extremely expensive. But luckily, there are places in the world where you can get a full-time, college-educated, English-speaking worker for, in my case, a fifth or even a tenth of the cost of a full-time employee where you're located, either in Europe or the US or Australia. And that includes places like the Philippines, places like Serbia and the Eastern Bloc, including Ukraine. There are a lot of places in the world, but one great place is the Philippines, which is why I put in here two of my favorite tools, Caliper and onlinejobs.ph. I have used both of these platforms to hire highly qualified, very skilled individuals at a very fair price that my business could afford, despite thin margins. So this is what allowed me to build the team for the cost of what a single person would have been domestically here in the US.
Chris, we have a question. Elder is asking,
Sure.
What VA platform would you recommend with the price and quality?
Okay, so if you're trying to get a full-time virtual assistant, I would go to onlinejobs.ph, because they're all there looking for virtual jobs, and many virtual assistants are there. That's the most popular job category on the platform. And I've found very high quality people there, and also colleagues have also found high quality people there. Even if you find someone who maybe knows nothing about Amazon, but they're extremely skilled and articulate and smart, so you want to hire them, you course VA Central, and they'll pop out of the other end, a trained, ready to go Amazon expert who can be both your virtual assistant and your operations manager. Hope that answers the question. One other of my favorite tools that I listed here is Accelerate. You've never heard of this before, I'm positive of it. Nobody knows about it. I just know about it because I lived in the Philippines for a number of months. And this actual team, and you have the budget for that to hire a number of people, and you want them to work together and collaborate, this is a great low-cost co-working space that you can put your workers in. And it's right in the heart of Manila, so likely whoever you find on Caliper or Online Jobs will be able to commute there and work there in person, which creates a totally different dynamic if your employees can collaborate with one another, even your virtual employees.
Pranay is asking, do you have your workers focus on growth or just repetitive tasks?
The most important thing to hire someone for is the repetitive operations tasks. I have contractors that are hourly helping me with specific growth tasks because they tend to be higher priced. But the full-time people are mostly geared towards the operations tasks in my case. I think once your team gets to a certain scale, you have to start hiring not just skills and operations people, but also leaders to manage those people. and then you can maybe start to consider going the growth route. But in the beginning, the most important thing is the operations route. And for my brand, at least, not for Judo Launch, but for the brand, those are that's the main domain of my employees for the brand. Good question. All right, so let's get into product research. So I'm not going to go too deep on this because I know that there's entire presentations that you guys have seen on this. But some of my favorite tools include Jungle Scout, Unicorn Smasher, which is part of AMZ Tracker's family of products, and Amachete.co. Now, that's the one you probably haven't heard of, Amachete. That's a big favorite of mine because it covers all marketplaces. It's got some really unique, cool integrations and a great Chrome plugin. So, and you know, I know the owner, Phil, who's a great guy and really concerned with quality product development. So, highly recommend that one. I believe they're about to do a relaunch soon. For keyword tracking, again, not going to go too deep on this because there's entire presentations that are done on the subject. But a couple of ones that I've used include AMZ Tracker, which many of you probably know about. It tracks the keyword position for each of your products, for each of your main keywords. AMZ.1, which, as I understand it, is kind of the Chinese knockoff of AMZ Tracker. It's cheaper and allows you to store more products. I actually use both because of how many products I track. And then AMZ Shark, which does the same thing but has a number of other tools built in as well. For keyword research, some of my faves, I think this is very undervalued, is just the Google Trends and Google Keyword Planner. In order to do the Google Keyword Planner, you need to have an AdWords account. So set up an account on adwords.google.com. And this is honestly my favorite way to generate keywords that are related to my main keyword. Because you can use something like merchant words, which say you type in garlic press, it'll give you all the variations with the word garlic press in it. So it'll be like kitchen garlic press, or garlic press for moms, or garlic press gift. But Google AdWords Keyword Planner will give you related search terms that you may never have thought of. So it'd be garlic press, but then it would suggest chop garlic, or it would suggest how to chop garlic faster, or other high volume keywords that people might be typing in that you haven't thought of. Another cool one is Keyword Inspector. It's keywordinspector.com. You can type in an ASIN of a competitor, and it will show you, based on its algorithm, what it thinks customers are typing in to find that listing. So this is really useful if you have a top competitor and you're like, where is all their traffic coming from? They seem to be doing high sales, but they're not even ranking for the main keywords or whatever. You could type their ASIN into Keyword Inspector, do a reverse ASIN search, and you're going to find out a bunch of keywords that you probably never expected that are leading customers to that page. So those are some of my favorites. Camel, as I understand, is used less and less as a keyword tool, keyword research tool, although I still hear it recommended a lot, so I felt compelled to add it to this list. But last I checked, it was more of an affiliate site than anything else.
Chris, coming back to the keyword tracking.
Sure.
Someone is asking, what is the difference between AMZ Track and AMZ One?
AMZ Tracker and AMZ One offer nearly the exact same service. There's very little difference. They're both going to show you how your BSR and how your keyword rank change over time. And you can upload a number of keywords for each product that you upload. I mean, to be honest, AMZ One is really a copy of AMZ Tracker. And Lord knows if AMZ Tracker is a copy of something else, like AMZ Shark, I don't know. But they're extremely similar. AMZ One is just much, much cheaper, to be honest.
Yes, I actually a long time ago checked AMZ One domain name, and it seems it's registered by people from Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I think they are the developers, the Bosnia-Herzegovina people. So.
Okay. Hey, good call, dude. You're so good at doing like deep research on companies. It's funny. You tell me like these Really awesome nuggets of information all the time. I love it. All right, so let's move on to new channels. Here are a couple of my favorites. Shopify is quite possibly the easiest way for you to set up your own website that fulfills through your existing Amazon fulfillment, but allows you to own the traffic and allows you to own the sale. So you can set up a Shopify store yourself if you want to, or there are a ton of contractors on Upwork.com that will help you build your Shopify site for you. And you'll just give them what the products are, supply them with the images, and they'll create the home page and the purchase page. They'll link it up to Amazon for you, and they'll do everything for you, which I highly recommend. There's a big payoff to doing this because you can experiment in infinite more ways when you actually own the platform. So Shopify is building your own online web store. It's not owned by anyone but yourself. WooCommerce is very similar to Shopify, but it integrates with WordPress. So it allows you to sell via a WordPress site. If you're someone who already knows WordPress, like you, Augustus, I know you know WordPress extremely well, this might be the better option for you. It also includes, there are plugins that allow you to fulfill via Amazon. Well, I've used it myself. So you can plug it right into Amazon fulfillment and have all of your orders fulfilled by Amazon just as easily as you would through Shopify. ClickFunnels is another different take on your own channel, outside Amazon channel. And this is, rather than a website, which you could view as a buffet where people could check the About You page, they could look through all of your different products. This is more of an IKEA type of shopping experience where the user is led through a number of different pages one by one, and they don't really have the choice to see the entire navigation. This can be very helpful when you're doing specific targeting. In the garlic press example, maybe you find out that one consumer demographic you have is people who have just purchased cookbooks online. And you know that after somebody purchases a cookbook, they go out and buy all the tools. So you could do some very specific targeting on Facebook to target only people who have just made a cookbook purchase or who have looked at a number of cookbooks or something like that. That's just an example, but there are infinite ways you can use that. And it's fairly simple to set up as well.
Do you think big commerce is any good? Someone is asking.
Yeah, oh, definitely. BigCommerce is great. I geared this towards ease of implementation. So that's the reason that I chose the quickest and simplest tools for those of you, who want to just get it done, quickly. But that's, commerce is good. That's a standard. That's
and also Angie is asking average cost. I'm not sure if she's referring to the keyword tracking services because some people are chatting about that, but maybe she means about the current slide about Shopify, WooCommerce, and ClickFunnels. Can you go through the costs?
Yeah, you know what? I actually don't have those offhand, but at the end of this presentation, you'll see an email address where you can shoot a quick message and we'll respond with a document that shows all of these services and lays out all of their costs, at least the ones that have public information about their costs. So there's a pricing table on each one. You can compare all of them together. It's a very simple sheet. So just shoot a message to the email at the end and you'll get sent that highly organized sheet that includes all of the information for all of these. Cool. You still with me, Augustus?
Yes.
Cool. All right. All right. So geographic expansion. This is where I do my shameless self-promotion, so to speak. Due to launch, I have worked tirelessly in the last year and a half to make the best possible platform to expand your brand internationally. The whole concept being, if you've put in all of the work to develop your products and to develop your images, develop the brand, the packaging, make the relationships with the suppliers, and all of that work you put in, possible way that you can expand horizontally your brand and expand your revenue is by expanding the scope of the amount of people who can view those products. And the easiest way to do that is to expand to new countries. These days, it's very simple to logistically get up and running in a new country, be it Germany or the UK or Japan. But getting sales traction is tough. And doing customer service in the local language is tough. And getting a really good translation of your listing by copywriting experts is tough. Judo Launch does all of that and helps you fix expansion, in my view. And yes, that's shameless self-promotion because I started the company and I run it, but I truly believe in it. I use it for my own brand, and I'm working tirelessly to make sure that these services and products are the best possible on the market. So I felt no shame in on this shameless self-promotion.
No worries. And someone at the beginning of the presentation was asking exactly about, I think about the specifics of your launch services. So the person was asking, is there anything different, some specific processes for German launches, for German marketplace?
Yeah, the German marketplace is actually our specialty because that's where we started. So the audience that we launched to in Germany is highly, curated and specialized in product category to product category. So the cool thing is, when you do a launch with Judo Launch in the German market, it's not going out to just randos. If you're doing a launch in the skincare brand, it's going out to people who have shown interest in skincare and really understand the market. So it's a really big benefit there. So in addition to the kind of SEO benefits that you get from that, if you are to have reviews left, which you may or may not have because they're not incentivized to be compliant with Amazon terms of service, but they're likely to be high quality, which is great. So yeah, and the process is very simple. You just tell us the listing that you want to launch, you send the codes to us, we agree on a launch schedule, and our launch experts actually consult you on what the best schedule is and what the best number of units is. And then you're off to the races. That's how it works.
I think maybe that person wanted to know if there is, like, as an Amazon seller, if there is some specific different process in German marketplace.
Well, the German marketplace, the cool thing about it is that these types of aggressive launch strategies are not commonplace there. So many times, based on the size of the market, you don't have to do as aggressive of a launch as you would in the US to get significant traction, because the launches that you do are higher impact because of the fact that it's not commonplace. So the other thing is there are cultural differences. There are products that would do really well in the UK, say, but would completely crash and burn in Germany. And there's also cultural differences that affect, the quality and style of reviews as well. I find that compared to the US, they tend to be less inflammatory, more rational and thought out, even to a harsh extent. They could just lay out all the problems with your product, or they could lay out all the rational benefits. So,
and yeah. Someone just commented, Adrian said he used Judo Launch for his first product in UK, and he's number one.
Oh, sweet.
For his main keyword for the last 2 months. So
right on. Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate the shout out, man. Cool. All right, so let's move on to email follow-up sequence. This is becoming a bit of a controversial subject since Amazon has started making it much easier for their customers to opt out of emails. And some sellers that I know have even stopped doing email follow-up sequences altogether for fear of being banned or violating Amazon's terms of service. I personally still use them. I'm very careful that if somebody asks me to blacklist them, that I immediately blacklist them and don't send them any more emails. And I'm rather conservative on the type of emails I send. I don't send 3 follow-up emails for every product purchase they do. I'll send 1 email that confirms their purchase and tells them that their package has been sent, and then 1 more follow-up email just giving them additional information about their product and politely directing them to where they can leave a review if they choose to, without any outside incentivization.
Yeah, there was a question about in the same subject. Someone was asking, well, it was during the time we talked about AMZ.1 service. So that person said AMZ.1 has a tool for promotions like Gem Send, and does AMZ Tracker have something similar for sending? All right, sorry, I mixed up, but he was talking
and
about
I believe it's the other way
promotions.
around.
Yeah.
AMZ Tracker has a tool for sending out units for promotion. I don't believe AMZ1 does. I could be wrong about that, but from my memory, I don't believe that it does.
All right. Yeah, sorry, I mixed up. He was talking about the promotions and you were talking about follow-up sequences.
Yeah, that's cool. No. Questions are very welcome. I encourage you guys to ask questions. So some of the tools here, we've got merchbee.com, salesbacker.com, Feedback Genius, feedback5.com. All of these tools, I have sellers that I know are using them. The one that I personally use is Feedback Genius because I trust it. It's part of a whole family of products that I use. And it allows you to do email follow-up sequences in many different countries. It allows you to blacklist people that don't want to be emailed anymore. And it allows you to specify what emails get sent out based on customer actions, like which product they purchased, and so on, and which market they purchased it on. But all of these tools have principles to them, and I would say they can all be viewed as quality answers to this problem. But I personally use Feedback Genius. I've used it for a while. I'm very happy with it. Optimization, I had to throw this in there. I don't know what Splitly's major competitor would be because I myself and many of the sellers I know use just this tool. But I had to throw this in there despite the fact that there's only one company that comes to mind, because I think this is really important. So Splitly allows you to do split testing on your listing. So you can split test the title of your listing, you can split test the main image of your listing, and you can split test the price of your listing. And what split test means is that it will automatically update your listing to allow you to make the title one thing for a period of time, and then for an equivalent period of time, another day, make the title something else, and then shows you what the conversion rate was and what the click-through rate was for each of those time periods. So it allows you to make decisions based on data rather than intuition, which is extremely important when it comes to scaling your business. So I highly recommend this service. I use it myself, and almost every colleague of mine in the mastermind groups I'm in and so on use this as well. If nothing else, because it can get pretty overwhelming doing all these split tests, just do the pricing test. Allow it to price optimize for you and find out which price sells the most at the highest profit. That's the easiest test you could do. It's literally one click. All right, a couple favorites of mine in the growth category. One is Voxer, sorry. I use Voxer because, to me, I hate staring at a computer screen all day. So when I'm managing my team, I'd much rather communicate via audio than via text. But for some reason, and I don't always want to hop on a live call when I want to communicate. Sometimes it's just one thing I want to say or any idea I want to get out. Voxer allows you to send voice messages to your team. So if you have a virtual assistant, say, instead of when you think of something that needs to get done for your virtual assistant that you hired off of onlinejobs.ph or caliper.com, instead of typing it out on Slack or Skype, you just press a button on your phone and speak into your phone, and it gets sent to them immediately, and they can listen to it, and they can communicate back to you via voice as well. This one, I know a number of people that use this. For me, it works really well because I'm more of an audio person than a visual person, and I hate staring at a screen all day. Fancy Hands, you guys should all get this right now. This is a freaking awesome tool, and I can't believe nobody knows about it. If, at the very least, when it comes to outsourcing things to other human beings and automating things using people, Fancy Hands should be your first step if you just want to dip your toe in the water. It's literally, I think, $50 a month for 15 tasks each month, which could be anything from posting an ad on Craigslist for you and collecting the responses and filtering them for you, to doing online research for you, to finding experts in a certain category, to doing data entry, data analysis, photoshopping. They could literally do almost any basic task that you can think of. Fancy Hands will do for you. And you can communicate with them via text or through their app, or via email. You can even copy them on emails to other people with tasks inside the email copied to someone else. And they can access your calendar to manage your calendar and stuff and such as well.
And
highly recommend.
How Fancy Hands are different from having a virtual assistant? Hello, Chris.
Yeah, Fancy Hands is a low-cost team. It's like a monthly membership, and it's a whole team of people. So you don't get sent the same person every time. The task uploads in their system, and they send the task to the most appropriate person. So that's how it differs. It'll get assigned to a different person each time, which is actually good for you when you're doing a low-cost service like that, because it allows you to access the most appropriate person for that specific task, instead of the same person every time who has one defined set of skills.
Prani says Fancy Hands sounds hot.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I've been using it for years. I think three years now or so, maybe 4 years. Haven't stopped using it. Totally love it. I think the biggest thing that I do with it is have them post Craigslist ads for me, whether it's for people for focus groups or to help me sell my motorcycle or like whatever. They're always doing Craigslist posts for me and collecting responses and just sending me the final result. I love it. All right, let's get to the boring stuff, which to me is the exciting stuff, because this is the stuff that you guys are all doing that you should stop doing immediately, because it's not the highest leverage way that you can spend your time. So if you're the highest leverage action you can take as a result of this presentation is by outsourcing these things, not the growth things, because the growth things are the exciting stuff. That's the shiny object. Ooh, shiny. But the operations things are the boring things that you're doing that if you outsource, free you up to even think about the growth aspect. So we'll start with the most boring, bookkeeping. So that's a terrible idea for you to do your own bookkeeping. At the very least, use a cloud service like FreshBooks, QuickBooks, or Xero, and have a low-cost contractor from Upwork log in there and classify and categorize all of your monthly expenses immediately. Another great solution, especially if you're on a budget, is called bench.co. So Bench is a hybrid software as a service plus person as a service website. So they'll assign you a dedicated bookkeeper, and you also get an online dashboard where you can log in and see your books. That dedicated bookkeeper automatically classifies all of your transactions and then contacts you anytime there's something that they need your help to classify. They'll also prepare your books I've used that service for years. I think it's a great service as well. Personally, we are starting to outgrow them and getting to the point where we need a full-time or a part-time dedicated accountant and bookkeeper. But I highly recommend the service, especially if you're on the budget. All right, let's go to inventory management. Here's a big one, because I know that pretty much every one of you out there has gone out of stock. If you're already live on Amazon and you have a business, I'm sure that you've gone out of stock at one point or another. And that was thousands or tens of thousands, or in some of the cases for you guys, hundreds of thousands of dollars of opportunity cost lost because you were out of stock, because you didn't do correct inventory management. using one of these tools can save you that couple thousand or couple tens of thousands of dollars, because you'll know what your out of stock date is based on your previous sales, and you'll be able to make good decisions about when to place orders with your suppliers. This is a huge one, guys. This is a big deal. So if you're on a budget, I'd say go with Forecastly. I've used them before. I wouldn't say that I was 100% satisfied with the service, but it does the job. I actually ended up using a custom spreadsheet that I built myself with formulas that calculate when I should place an order based on my previous 7 days sales. And my virtual assistant just fills in my previous 7 days sales, my average daily sales over the past 7 days, and our current inventory numbers, so that that number is always up to date. And then I know, okay, I have to place this order based on our current lead time and based on our current sales. I need to place this order next week. So if you have the ability to build a tool like that yourself, that's free. But if you don't, use one of these tools, Skubana or Forecastly. Skubana is very serious. That's actually for larger volume sellers. If you're already at the point where you're selling on multiple different channels, you already have your Shopify or e-commerce store, standalone web store built, and you're selling on Amazon, and maybe you're selling on eBay or Walmart or Jet.com. Skubana integrates with all of those and gives you information about your inventory connected to all of those sales channels. It also gives you profitability information, and it gives you inventory management information as well. So that's really for the big dogs. I wouldn't get into that if you're a small-time seller. If you're doing significant volumes, though, it's a great tool. All right, for account management. So if you're still managing your Amazon account yourself, updating listings, dealing with Amazon seller support, monitoring your feedback and trying to convert the negative feedback to trying to remove negative feedback that's about a product, checking each of your listings for bad reviews, and of course, doing customer support if you want to lump that in there, but I have a separate slide for that. If you're doing all of these things, this is one high leverage way to free up your time, because all of this not only takes a lot of time, but it takes mental energy, because you're task switching, and there's a cost in your mind and your focus level every time you're switching tasks. Because account management encompasses many different tasks, it's draining to do this, to be checking your seller feedback, to be checking your reviews, to be checking the customer messages, to be interacting with seller support. Having someone take over all of these basic tasks is totally crucial. Amazon virtual employee who already knows the Amazon platform. If you want to go the lower cost solution, you can use the onlinejobs.ph recommendation that I showed in a previous slide and train them yourself, or put them through VA Central training, which I believe is somewhere on the order of $400 to $500. And this will allow you to outsource many of the Amazon specific tasks that you guys may be doing that are not a high leverage way to spend your time. When it comes to the EU market, due to launch, I have made sure is the best possible solution out there to automate your entire EU account. And that includes customer service in each of the local languages, sending specialized VAT invoices, which by law you need to do every time they're requested, dealing with seller support, and even translating listings is included in that. So, like I said, I've worked hard to make that an amazing service, and I have no problems bragging about it. When it comes to financial services, this is one thing that's very important to my business and should be important to you, especially if you have foreign employees or foreign contractors outside of these platforms like Upwork and freelancer.com and so on, which I do. I have many of them, actually. So to make international payments to outside employees, TransferWise and Payoneer are great. TransferWise, I'm totally in love with. It was started by the guys who started Skype. it saves you a bunch of money on hidden fees from your bank, and the blatant fees from your bank that your bank would charge you to do international transfers. It's actually a cool technology. They use a peer-to-peer transfer technology so that when you make a transfer, your money actually goes to somebody else in your country that somebody from another country wanted to send to them. And then that person's money goes to the person that you're trying to send to in your target country. So it's an interesting process, and I love it. It's super low cost. It's super simple. And it's great. Payoneer is another one. There's some countries like, for instance, Serbia, where most remote workers are already used to getting paid with this service. It allows them to get paid on a card that they can then spend at the store. So they don't even need a bank account to get paid via this service, which for many workers is important because of either government restrictions or because they don't like to use their bank account or don't have one. Then OFX, this is an awesome service that you just integrate with your Amazon account, and it just decreases whatever your source currency is to whatever the currency that's being purchased, the product is being purchased at. I just completely jumbled those words, but it converts the currency from what the customer paid, be it euros or pounds, to your home currency. So in my case, that'd be US dollars, and it does it at a lower currency conversion rate than Amazon themselves do. So what they basically do is they set up a local bank account there to connect to instead of your domestic bank account. And then the euros or the pounds go into that account, and then OFX converts it at a much lower conversion rate and sends it to your account. That's the beef of it.
Chris, I think we lost you when you were starting to talk about OFX, and you said they decrease, and then you were cut out for 5 seconds. What do they decrease?
They decrease the conversion fees, the currency conversion fees that you're paying through Amazon if you're connecting to your domestic bank account for your international listings and your international account.
Nikki is asking, what about World First? Do you have any experience?
I don't have experience with them. No, I have heard of them, but I don't have specific experience with them, so I couldn't speak on that. All right. Let's go on to another boring one. That's compliance, tax compliance. Woo! We all love tax compliance. So a couple of points on this. If your first domestic marketplace is the US, TaxJar can help you with sales tax. I know a bunch of sellers using TaxJar, and many of them are very happy with it. It keeps track of your sales tax. It's got great reporting. So that it can help you do your taxes at the end of the year, and all of that. Pretty much outsources all of the sales tax portion of running your business there, and it integrates with multiple different channels, not just Amazon. In the EU, you can use KPMG or VAT Global for your VAT compliance. So they'll file your VAT filings for you. In any country where you're required to pay VAT, which if you're required to pay VAT if you're holding inventory in the country, or if you've crossed a certain threshold of sales. And you can actually email Victoria Dine at vatglobal. Is it .net? I believe it's .net. I'll look that up later, and we can include it in the show notes. She's very gracious with her time, and will give you some advice on VAT compliance as well. It's
vatglobal.com. I just checked.
Awesome. Yeah. So I believe it's victoria.dine at vatglobal.com. And I'll message that to Augustus so we can put it in the show notes here, or the webinar notes here. KPMG is the big dog in the market. That's a large firm that has completely commoditized the VAT compliance service. So if you're trying to go with, the biggest, baddest, company in the space, KPMG is the way to go. All right, let's move on to logistics. This is a great one because there are so many bad logistics companies out there. And I know this from personal experience. I've used 4 different logistics services, and 3 of them were highly disappointing. One of them working pretty well. So, and even that one could improve. So if you want to go old school, the traditional route, you can work with a company called BGI Worldwide. But there are new services that integrate tech with logistics, and those include Freight Hub and Flexport. Flexport is the one that I personally use. Freight Hub, I think, is a newer player in the space, in the tech forwarding space. But they give you a dashboard that shows you literally visually where your shipment is, whether it's on the ocean or it's still at your supplier in China or it's at the door of the warehouse. It shows you exactly where it is, and has an web app messaging platform so you can always contact a person. That's a great company. It's a fast growing Silicon Valley tech startup, and I think they're doing well. I use them, and they're used to working with Amazon clients. Freight Hub, I've heard a lot of buzz about. It's worth checking out. It is possible that they offer less expensive shipments from the rumors I've heard, but I have not used them myself yet, so I couldn't say that from personal experience.
I think Freight Hub is a German startup, and at the moment I heard that they do shipment only to Germany. Not sure if they do to UK, so you have to check out.
Good question. Good point. Yeah, I know that they're based in Germany. I've seen their platform though. Actually, it was at Thomas's conference, Augustus. I've seen their platform, and it was very sleek. And the price that they quoted me for the shipment that I asked them to quote was significantly less than the price that I'm already paying, which is actually standard for logistics companies. They always underquote you. So I wouldn't necessarily trust that, but I have heard that feedback from other people as well. Okay, communication. This is vitally important. Another one of those boring subjects that if you put some time into, completely change the game. So Slack, you got to start with Slack. If you're not on Slack, you either don't have a team or you're not managing your team well enough, because Slack is literally your virtual office. That's where you have your different virtual conference rooms, which they call channels, and your individual conversation with everyone. You can upload files. It's completely searchable, so you can look back at previous conversations. It's literally a virtual office. And if you don't have it, I mean, my life would be chaos without Slack. I couldn't imagine living without Slack. Skype, I use for external communication for anyone outside my team. Whereas Slack is just members of my team and temporary members of my team, be that independent contractors or agencies. They get a guest pass to our Slack so that they can be in daily communication with us. But anyone outside the team, vendors, other short-term independent contractors and so on, that's who you friend on Skype, communicate on Skype with. Asana and Trello, these are great project management and task management services that not only allow you to manage your own time and tasks and projects, but allow you to manage a team and manage how they complete tasks. You can create recurring tasks. You can done, and if they're done, and then customer service. So if you get to the point where you have multiple accounts, be it multiple different Amazon accounts for US, Europe, Japan, so on, Canada, or it's many different accounts on many different channels, your jet.com account, your walmart.com account, your Shopify account, your Amazon account, you can combine all of your customer service inquiries into one location so that you can have a customer service agent who just needs to log in one place to answer customer service inquiries from any platform. My favorite of these is Help Scout because it's simple. It's very simple to set up, simple to use, simple to learn, but they do have the tools for a high degree of automation. So that's pretty exciting when it comes to Help Scout. Zen, I think, in the space, and both of them can also allow you to consolidate all of your customer service into one place. All right, so that's it, guys. That is the presentation on how to cut down your work week by an order of magnitude. in terms of time spent, and start spending your time on highly leveraged things, so you can outsource all of the junk, the things that you shouldn't be spending your time on as the business owner. So if you want to get a summary of this entire presentation, which is basically just a list of all tools, there's also included in that a list of my favorite tools, so my top picks in each category. Just email sup@judolaunch.com. Our boy Hans will be there monitoring this email and sending you back this document with all of these tools if you're interested in that. It includes links to the websites. It includes the pricing for each tool, and the name of the tool, the logo. So yeah, yes.
Great. Thanks a lot for all this homework you have done for us. There is someone asking the Power, his name is, he's asking about one of your last slides. Do you know if Basecamp is good for purpose of managing teams? I think Basecamp is something to like Slack.
Yeah, Basecamp is more like Asana than Slack. Basecamp is great. I used to use that because my web agency was on Basecamp and they wanted to integrate us into their team for task management. It's great. Yeah, it's good for internal team communication, for task management, and for splitting your organization into specific groups. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Basecamp. I've used it and I like it.
Mm-hmm. And Ren Becker was asking about your suggestions to use Shopify to sell your physical products. He was asking if there are any kind of plugins which connect to FBA.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, actually, Shopify now, you don't even need a plugin to connect to FBA anymore. In Shopify, they now have it as a native integration. So you can integrate your Shopify account with your Amazon fulfillment immediately, and it will fulfill directly from your Amazon inventory. It's pretty awesome.
Actually, can you stop sharing the screen so we see that you are a person?
Oh yeah.
And
totally.
Another Chris in the audience was asking, how do you handle your product compliance? Do you have any? I think we still see your presentation.
Yeah. I'm clicking off. Just okay. There we go. All right.
All right. So, also stop sharing. I think I can see that. Oh, I think we lost Chris again.
I'm back.
Yes. So just click on the green button. Good.
Yeah.
So another Chris was asking, how do you handle your product compliance?
Yeah. So for us specifically, I've just hired independent contractors that are specialists in that product category using Upwork. That's how I've handled product compliance and specific country compliance. There's always somebody who has worked in that industry who can consult you on what certifications you may need for a given market, for a given product line.
Okay, another question which I saw was, okay, it's not anymore so much related about the tools you presented, but Eldar, he is asking, would you expand your US products to EU that have a great demand, like 500, 700 sales a month? But when you check on EU marketplaces, they sell like 30, 50 pieces on each marketplace. So what
per month?
Yeah, per month. So on US, it's 500, 700. On EU, each marketplace, he sees just 30, 50.
No, I wouldn't do that. If the top seller is doing 30 to 50 sales per month and it's a product that's under $70 per unit, I would not expand there with those existing products. Wait till you have some products that would sell significant volumes in the EU first.
On the other hand, the same person, he says he thinks the issue of low sales of most of the products in EU marketplaces could be of sellers who don't optimize their listings enough or translations are bad. What's your opinion?
I doubt it. If it's that low, 30 to 50 sales per month, and you can't find anyone else on the entire front page that's not selling more, there's likely just not a market for it. It'd be one thing if there were high volumes of sales or at least medium volumes of sales and the listings were bad. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Then you know there's a great opportunity there because you can come in and just dominate immediately. I've done that a number of times. But if there's very low sales volume, likelihood is that the market's just not there for that specific product. But your product line, I'm sure that will change for you.
And Silvana wants your opinion, Shopify or WooCommerce?
I've used both, and I'm happy with both, to be honest. I now use WooCommerce because just content-wise, it gives me a little bit more flexibility to work with web designers to do very custom things for my brand. But yeah, so I would say my conclusion would be if you're trying to get up and running very quickly, I would just use Shopify. If you're trying to make something that is a little bit more custom and is designed the way you want it to be designed, I would use WooCommerce integrated with WordPress.
And Angie was asking, how much does it cost for someone from Upwork to create Shopify store? Do you have any experience?
Yeah, I do. At the low end of the spectrum, you could get someone for somewhere between $500 and $900 to do it for you. And then depending on how much customization you want and how many products you want, you can go up from there, up to, you know, a couple thousand. And if you work with the most professional agencies, that could be up to 20,000 or so. If you're looking to have someone, you know, create a gorgeous custom site for you that's ready to go.
Actually, Angie, check out the presentation by Guido Jackels tomorrow on Tuesday. He's offering a service of setting up Shopify stores. So check out his presentation tomorrow. And Era Paints, it's a nickname of a listener. He says, financial question, why not just use PayPal with 3% fees rather than one of the apps you talked about? I think he meant Payoneer.
Oh, to pay individuals abroad? I'm assuming you mean to pay individuals abroad. PayPal's fees are actually end up being larger to pay individuals abroad, because they'll charge the fee, which is about 4%. Then they'll also charge that person to take the money out and get it into their bank account in whatever their local currency is. So I've used all of these services. And for most individuals, PayPal doesn't make sense. In order for them to get that money out and use it in their country, it costs everyone more than if you were to just use a service that puts the money in their bank account or on a credit card that they can spend, i.e. TransferWise or Payoneer.
Another service to look for is xoom.com, XOOM. It's a service by PayPal, but I think it does money transfers directly to, let's say, Filipinos bank account, and the fees are fixed. I think it's like $5 per transfer. So it's also by PayPal, but it's called xoom.com. I haven't used this service. There might be some restrictions or some other conditions.
Keep an eye on too, though. Keep an eye on the fee, because they could have a fixed fee, but the hidden fee is the spread on the currency conversion. So sometimes, I mean, I found it with my bank was totally screwing me over on my fee, on the currency conversion fee. I was like, oh, like there's not even that big of a fee difference in the fixed fee. And then it turned out in the currency conversion, it was massively different. So I know TransferWise always has the lowest possible currency conversion fee. That I can say.
Someone is commenting on your glasses. Last year, you were not wearing any glasses. Is that something we have to be aware if we become multi-figure seller in short time?
I like that person. Don't worry, dude. These are not prescription glasses. These glasses actually help with eye fatigue. They make the world just a little bit less blue. So I don't know if you can see that difference. Makes it a little bit yellower.
Yeah.
So I'm in the office 12 hours a day at this point, because I'm in an accelerator called 500 Startups here in the Silicon Valley. And it's very intense. So my eyes would completely shut out and fall out of my face if I didn't have some type of like protection from all this artificial light. So yeah, don't worry. You won't go blind if you create a multi-million-dollar business.
All right. And the last question from Amador. Amador is
Your
asking.
audience is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I love the Augustus audience.
Amador is asking, could you recommend for VAT registration service to obtain VAT? So I think you mentioned, you can just repeat them.
Yeah. Any of the VAT services companies will get you a registration. You can honestly, you can do it yourself. At least in the UK, it's simple. I actually did it on my own. If you are on a budget and you don't want to pay them to register you, but most of them will do it at a low cost or no cost. So that's VAT Global, vatglobal.com, or KPMG. And there's actually a number of these companies. I know, Augustus, you talked with the company yesterday for one of the presentations. That's Simply VAT.
Yes, not yesterday, a few days ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was simply VAT, simply VAT. And also guys, one of the speakers from FBA Hero. So you can check out their presentation. All right.
Yep. Any of them will do it for you. And they'll also consult you on which markets you need to register in, because sometimes that can get complicated. Which markets you need to register and which ones you don't.
And do you have experience which company is most cost effective in VAT filings?
You know what? I couldn't honestly say which is cheapest because I've only used one on my own because I've been really happy with their service level wise. So I definitely wouldn't be comfortable making a claim on which one is the cheapest one. That's a good question.
And another question, we are getting flooded with questions about VAT.
Sweet.
How much should it reasonably cost to register VAT in EU? I think it depends, how many countries you need to register VAT for, because if you are storing, if you are on pan-EU program, then you need 7 countries to register and so on.
Right. Yeah, likely it's going to be a couple hundred per country, somewhere on that order of magnitude. And then, of course, I mean, like I was saying, for the EU, they make it really easy for you to register yourself. If you just go to, what is it, EU.gov? Just Google search, register for VAT. Sorry, in the UK. I meant in the UK. If you're registering in the UK, they make it very easy. So, yeah, you get an HMRC number, and then you get a VAT registration number. So if you're on a budget, not too hard to do it yourself.
Great. Thanks a lot. I think it's time to finish. And I appreciate the homework for Amazon sellers you did, all this compilation. So anyone who wants to get the full list, more detailed sheet, PDF sheet with all these services, what should they do?
Just email sup@judolaunch.com.
SUP, judolaunch.com. All right. I think we lost Chris.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll say that again
for a few seconds. So it's
so you'll just shoot an email to sup@judolaunch.com or sup.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And
thank you, dude. It's friggin' awesome hanging with you as always. And your audience is hilarious and great.
Bye-bye.
So it's been